Hello team and welcome to another Red Dead Online video. Today we are gonna travel to Canada. Well, which is quite a ride, so get yourself some popcorn and enjoy the video we've prepared for you. And today we travel with Chubinu, a friend of mine who I met in Red Dead Online a few years ago. Yeah. Well, at first we need to cross the Sea of Coronado with our horse, and then we are gonna go further. After you crossed the Sea of Coronado, you need to head south until you reach a dead end. To cross the Sandory River, you need to do the dual wheel glitch, with which you can just go through the river without drowning, which you would usually do. After Chubinu and I crossed the river and reached the other shore, you need to request either your hunting wagon or your bounty wagon. It will not spawn, but your horse on the other side of the river will despawn. And then you can whistle for your horse and it will eventually spawn right next to you. You have to do this a few times, but after a few attempts it will spawn. We have not tried this, but you could go on the other side of the river again, just a little more south, so that you bypass this rock on the other side, which we called the dead end. It might be difficult to get the horse over there, and well, this is why we picked the safe route and went the long way, which actually leads to Mexico as well. From here on, you could also choose to go to Mexico with your horse, which might be a little more convenient than going on foot, but it's definitely longer this way. And be warned though, it's easy to die when riding through this land here, so you could go a little more south to choose the safe route over the hills. Chubinu and I have completed the first challenge. The first big threshold is overcome, the Sandory River. But what is ahead of us? It's a very long ride to Canada, so we are excited to see what other challenges we might face. We were quite surprised when we first saw other animals, pronghorns to be precise. But, well, they didn't move a lot, and of course it made total sense. We were not supposed to go to this area. We are in lands that most Red Dead Online players have never seen before and never will. So, well, they were obviously glitched, and we kept on traveling. A few minutes later, we have reached the peak of a mountain, which allowed us to see the beautiful landscape that Rockstar tried to hide from us out of bounds. Well, as beautiful as the scenery of the sunset was, we knew that we had quite a few miles between us and the Canadian border, so we saw no other option than continuing our search for the unknown. Suddenly we stopped after we came across a suspicious, well, odd surface. It was blurry, which made it stand out from the other floor we've been walking on. And as it turns out, it isn't even solid, so it's blurry for a reason. And we decided to not try to find out why it was blurry, but my guess is that we would have just fallen out of the map, which is not our goal here. So we kept on going. We were surprised when we noticed that the Grizzlies and the mountains of northern Merino appeared even taller from where we stand right now. We have never seen the mountains from this perspective, and it kept us, well, in fascination. The further we traveled north, the more we thought about what it would be like if this part of the map would actually be part of the game. It almost feels like this has initially been planned to be added to the game. After a little riding, we bumped into some sort of rock that had a strange texture to it. It almost looked like a meteorite. And when we think about it, the game files indicate that you could originally find 3 meteors, so this could be cut content. Maybe you were actually supposed to get here in the early stages of the game to see this Easter egg. So we headed up the hill and found a ravine. And for some reason it felt oddly familiar. And then it came to us. In the story mode of Red Dead Redemption 2 there was a mission where you saved John Marston from wolves. And you had to pass a glacier. And this pretty much looks like the ravine from this glacier. And, well, we thought that if we headed east, we maybe could find the area the mission took place, which usually would be restricted after completing the mission. And I guess we were too curious. We were too interested in what was up the hill that we didn't even notice the clouds sneaking up on us. And before it was too late, the clouds swallowed us whole. And we found ourselves trapped in these clouds. And we couldn't see anything. The only thing we saw were our footsteps behind us, but we couldn't see where we were going. And as we approached a little cliff, another ravine, well, we thought that they might just have sealed our doom. We didn't know what to do, except for riding back. There was no way we could get across this cliff or over the ravine, because, well, we would just respawn in the map and all the travel would have been for nothing. So we decided to be careful and head back, which turned out to be not as easy as we thought. The fog, the clouds, became more dense and dense, so that we couldn't even see our footsteps anymore. It became really hard to see just 2 meters ahead, and we didn't know how we could get back to where we came from. So, as you see, I went down this part of the path, and Shubinu went up, but sadly he fell and his horse slided down the hill, leaving him trapped up there. He shot for some reason to maybe alert me, to show me that he needed help, but I couldn't return. I went back the exact same path I came from, but it turns out Shubinu was just fine, and we kept running. And then we noticed that the cloud has developed into a blizzard, a snowstorm, which, well, could be lethal. This time we headed west, trying to evade the thunder and the lightning blinding us. And almost when we thought that our fate was sealed, we saw something. Some bright light in the end of the tunnel, and it was the exit. We have escaped the thunder and, well, we're safe. We just escaped chaos. We evaded certain death. And well, we were very glad that we were still alive, knowing that there's nothing really in between us. Nothing between the Canadian border and us. We were almost there. The last threshold, the mountains, were overcome. Canada was finally within reach. We could smell the maple syrup. We could taste the poutine, the Canadian food, and it was surreal. It was so close, and the only thing separating us was this mountain. But then something happened. Shubinu fell through the blurry ground, leaving him dead, his corpse in the abyss. But we couldn't stop now. We've made it so far, and if nobody of us made it, all the journey, the suffering would have been for nothing. We had to push. I had to fight the slippery slope of the mountain, clearly trying to prevent us from reaching Canada, our only goal, everything we fought for. But then, finally, the peak. rewarding us with a view no Red Dead Online player could ever forget. We saw Canada. Well, we couldn't enter it, but we reached Canada. This was the border, and equally the edge of the world. And then I jumped. I knew I couldn't make it back to where I came from. The journey was just too difficult and I couldn't bring up the strength, so the easiest solution was to jump into the abyss, knowing that it will take me to the exact location which I want to be at, the world of Red Dead Redemption.